This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we chat all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships all the way to the adult industry itself. I'm Silvia Saige, and this is my Pornspective, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. Get ready, because Sexy Funny Raw starts now.
Welcome back, guys. Another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. I am your host, Silvia Saige, and joined in studio with me, as always, is my co-host, Dr. Eddie, giving us his public health perspective. Thank you, Dr. Eddie. And this is the very last show where you will get to see my very good friend and creator of the roast battle, comedian Brian Moses, people. I know, we'll be sad, but that's okay. We had you all month.
That hurts.
Yeah, it was a good month. It was a good month for us.
It's a short month.
Yeah,
but it was fun. The doctor's been great.
Yeah.
Not saying that Sylvia hasn't, but man, Doc, you've been killing it. Really
the two of you, really. Do you wanna cuck? And I should just. That is the question, folks. The episode today: to cuck or not to cuck. Cuckolding. Such a huge category right now. So I want to talk about it. I have obviously done a lot of cuckolding scenes, and it's kind of all the rage right now. So let's discuss. So we're talking about cuckolding, historically meant for a man who was unaware that his wife was cheating on him with another guy. But that definition has obviously changed, because now we know cuckolding to be the act of a husband or boyfriend, partner, being the one to actually be watching his wife have sex with another man. And I won't say in all circumstances, but in most circumstances, this is the wife is having sex with a larger endowed man than the husband or boyfriend is. That's kind of the running scenario.
The bull.
The bull, yes.
Oh,
that's
what they call it.
Yeah, so the man who is cucking the wife is the bull, and the man watching is the cuck. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Did you think it was the
Cuck and
cuckold
bull.
was the guy?
Cuck and bull, yeah.
Cuck and bull. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from the bird laying eggs in the nest. The cuckoo bird, yeah. And so that's where the term originally came from.
What?
They lay eggs in other nests, and then the other birds raise. And then what ends up typically happening is cuckoo birds.
Yeah.
They lay eggs in other nests, and so once they're
the females lay their eggs in whatever nest they can find.
Correct, and then so the other bird of whatever species then raises it, warms it, heats it, and then the cuckoo bird.
Wait, of another species, so they could drop it off with a bald eagle.
Correct.
Oh.
And so that was like the trick, and then they grow and they tend to outfeed, or they eat more than regular birds. And so that one of like the relationships there would be they would push the other little baby birds either out of the nest or eat them out of house and home.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
That's where the term comes from.
Cuckoo birds are predators.
That's fucking crazy. Wait, also cuckoo birds are genius because they found a way to not raise their own fucking kids. Like, what? I want to just drop my baby off with somebody else and have them raise it.
Wow.
That is the way to be.
I found a way to not fuck my own wife. Take my wife, please.
That is crazy. I cannot believe I've never ever known that. What an interesting. Cuckoo birds, aren't they really dumb too, though? No?
That's the dodo bird.
That's what dodo
Cuckoo,
is.
they would say like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I'm smart birds to me, dropping off their kin to other people. I get it. That's crazy.
Oh, I can see me like, this is crazy. These aren't even my kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything about it. They just raise them.
And I can see like, that's crazy. That's your wife.
The birds are feeding the babies, right? And so
Yeah.
this other one tends to get bigger faster, eat more.
But they don't. These birds aren't going, what are you doing here? Get out of my nest. They're like, I guess I just feed this bird now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
That's crazy.
They're
They're like a little adopted family.
They might not have pheromones the way that we do. It might be different. I don't know.
Right.
So crazy.
I guess that is like the bull. He's just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna fuck this woman now, because she needs this.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna raise this man's wife.
It's also
A child. It's a child in that case.
Right.
But yeah.
it's also fun to be the guest though, in the bull's perspective, right? So being a guest.
See, but I would think
Right.
that there is so much pressure on the bull. I would just feel like so much pressure for him to like perform, because now you've got this.
There's
like,
an audience.
Because
yeah.
it's not like all this is a porn scenario. This is a real life scenario for a lot of people that
It's
are
a
really
live
going
show.
through this. Yeah. Now, can you imagine, like, Brian, just take for example, like, can you imagine you getting hired just to go rail some dude's wife and he's just standing there in the corner? Because not only is he watching you, he's stroking his dick to watching you. So, like, I just can't imagine, like, for a person who's not a professional performer to just, like, be able to perform under those circumstances with somebody else watching you feels like it's got to be a lot
like
of pressure.
you'd have performance anxiety. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, go play basketball. I know you played a few times. You can play basketball in front of like 8,000 people, can't you?
Yeah.
Unless you're turned on by that whole
voyeurism
component.
Well, there's that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
you
if you're
you might
choosing
be
to
in that.
do that,
Yeah.
then you're okay with it, and performance anxiety might not necessarily. Performance anxiety might be kind of the opposite, where because you're performing
in front of somebody, it gets you off
Right.
a little bit
Rostrum.
more. Yeah, I could see that.
There's pressure, but also there is consent. So he's like, I can do this. Yeah, so he's pumping himself up, or
Yeah.
he's taking some performance-enhancing drug, right?
Yeah. But what I think I found interesting is the reason why some people do this.
There's a lot of them.
Yes. But I think the one that I found to be the most interesting was, and Dr. Reddy, I'm just doing this from memory, so you might have to correct me on what it actually is. But it was where it's like a sperm racing. Can you elaborate on the sperm racing?
The sperm competition theory.
Sperm competition theory. That's what it is. I'm like,
Whoa, I
I'm going
love
from
this.
memory, sperm racing. But yeah, okay, get into it, Dr. Reddy.
Sperm racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sounds like a
you
sport.
are
Right.
inseminating a woman that's already been inseminated, and so
Because the bull is coming in her, and then
maybe
husband
less
coming
in the real world, because most people are probably using condoms in
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
situations,
yeah.
but maybe, who knows.
Yeah.
But the idea that a man has come inside of somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
and the stronger semen
to
will
survive and win.
survive and
Oh, so
win.
this is so it is like a competition now to
Yes.
see who can impregnate my wife.
Yes.
Right.
And see whose sperm is more masculine and can reach the egg faster, swim faster, swim harder. Isn't that interesting?
Some weird primate shit that we're pulling here.
But
That's what
also,
I'm saying.
who has more semen and who has more, who is more virile, and like those are also components to it, I
Right.
think,
Because
as well.
also,
some machismo stuff, yeah.
but also with age, though, men's sperm count will lower, and he will produce less sperm, and especially less effective sperm.
Yeah,
so
right,
I
low
can
T.
see how
Young bull.
watching a young man fuck your wife could be a different type of arousal. Also, yeah,
Sure.
so crazy.
It's super.
Now,
Bet you can't beat me.
now,
You're right.
now, here's my question, because I don't know it this way. Is it ever an opposite where the female would enjoy watching her husband or even like I feel like
Female cucking, yeah, is that a thing?
The few things that I did find on it were that the gender doesn't necessarily matter, and there's all sorts of mix and matches
Okay.
of gender.
Okay.
And so it doesn't have to be your wife. It could be your husband. It could be men. It could be women. It could be all sorts of different
And they're always called the
variations.
bull, even the ladies.
Correct. The bull is the guest.
Okay.
The guest.
The guest.
Right.
Nice.
so in the gay culture, is there such a thing as cuckolding in the gay culture as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so from what I understand, there's all of the same rules apply, all
Okay.
of the same reasons that people get involved in some of these fetishes. They're all kind of the same. There really aren't that many differences between.
Yeah.
It's all the guest.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of times I feel like this cuckolding scenario will lead to like a threesome scenario, or like an orgy scenario if there's multiple people in the room. Is that necessarily? I mean, obviously it won't happen every time, but I just feel like those two things are going to eventually intertwine. I feel like it's really hard to be a sideline watcher.
I think it depends on what the rules of engagement are
Yeah.
once you've established those in the beginning, right? And
Yeah.
so
Because I guess sometimes the guest won't want that other person to join.
sure, what if
Yeah.
like the guest wouldn't be comfortable with another man
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
anywhere near him, which is
Right.
tied to masculinity and all of
course.
those things. Or maybe they do want the other man, and the cuck isn't interested in being involved, right? And so there's going to be variations. I think it really depends on what the rules of engagement are. And so I think context and consent are critical when you're designing what these scenes are supposed to be, because that's what they are, right?
Right.
We're designing them as like a scene as opposed to out of the blue, it just happens.
Right. I mean, it does just happen, though. I feel like there are definitely couples who go out to the bar specifically looking for this strapping young man. I mean, it definitely is predatory, but it doesn't stop it from happening. I mean, have you never been approached by a couple to have sex? I have on more than one occasion.
That's
never?
also it's terrifying. I know a couple buddies of mine have. Yeah.
Have they done it?
One has, yeah.
But with strangers or with people he knew?
Two different buddies, but one was a lady, one was a dude. Actually, there was this app called Thrinder at one point where couples would find.
Did you know about this?
I did not.
No, what is Thrinder?
So it was like Tinder for threesomes. Yeah, it was called Thrinder. They don't have it anymore. I think.
But you'd have to find 3 people, or a couple would find somebody else.
Or you would have to be like the guest, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the apps now, though, have couples that are looking for someone.
Yeah,
right?
I find that a lot.
You can see that all the time.
Right, like that's kind of what killed Thrinder. Yeah. It was
really?
Yeah.
There's already
specific for that.
I think built-in consent there.
Yeah.
Except with the bull, right? So the couple has already consented that this is the plan.
Right.
And then they introduce the bull to it, but they're proposing, hey, this is what's going to happen. Are you interested? And at that point, I think consent is made if you're interested. So
I'm interested in your friend. Was it I just need to know, was it a stranger or did he know these people?
They were strangers.
Just completely came up to him out of a bar, out of the blue.
No. He was at a bar and went on the app and then found. He was like, okay.
Oh wait, he was on an app.
He was on the app.
Okay,
yeah,
so that's
he was on the Thrinder app. But then the friend who's a girl, she was a coworker. This couple just came up to her at a comedy club, and she was working, and they were like, "Hey," and she was like trying to get up early. She's like, "I think I'm gonna go fuck this couple."
They must have been hot.
They must have been hot. Yeah.
I would have fucked that couple in the front row the other night at your show. The soccer player and the real estate agent.
They were,
yeah, I would have went home with them.
They were great.
I was trying. I was like, if you guys need me.
It's
you were horny that night. Yeah.
It's the pheromone.
It was their pheromones. It was the soccer players.
They were both. They were gorgeous.
Yeah, they were a fun
people.
couple. Yeah, and they were newly dating. It was fun. I was like, I would totally slide into that. Just so you guys know. Yeah.
If you need a third,
yeah.
If you need a guest.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting, the whole cuckold experience. Obviously, I've done a ton of them. I feel like cuckolding might be the one time where you might want to have some paperwork written down, because I feel like that shit could come back on you.
Yeah,
I might be like, do you mind signing this paperwork real quick? Yeah, before this comes back in a horrific way.
You fucked my wife. You asked me to. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's helping you out.
That's exactly what I fear.
My initials are on this consent form right here.
Yeah.
There was verbal consent and signed consent.
Well, your sperm was too fast and it beat mine, and now you got this baby that I'm raising. Now I'm cucking this baby.
Yeah, now I got this big dick baby. Ain't nobody's gonna believe it's mine. Jesus Christ.
My goodness.
The baby's got a big dick now.
Well, I mean, he came from the big dick big dick bowl.
Right.
But I would be curious to know if dick size matters as much as we think it does.
I
don't think it does.
I think we're all, as a
it's a power thing, right?
Yeah.
We're obsessed with talking about it, and men for sure are obsessed with dick size.
Yeah.
Well, power equals dick size, right?
Well,
but does it really? I
just think that's because you have big dick energy, just big energy. I think I was just talking about having power is I guess the equivalent,
But let me tell you what big dick energy is. Big dick energy to me is just a confident man. You could have the smallest dick in your pants, but I'll tell you got big dick energy
and
if you come
powerful.
into a room with confidence. I mean, we all can agree there's nothing sexier than confidence. I mean, I think that's a resounding confidence and being funny.
Yeah.
2 number 1 things. I'd fuck just about anybody who is confident and funny.
Both of those are hard to find, actually.
Yeah, they really are.
And together, almost impossible.
Yeah. I was going to say, because most
Except
comics,
you guys,
most comics are pretty self-deprecating. I am certainly not I'm not super proud of myself. Let's be honest. I'm still struggling a whole lot with mental clarity here. But yeah. Cuckolding is very obviously closely related to BDSM and overlaps with things like domination, submission, and humiliation. Minus the gear and spanking, like in 50 Shades of Grey, right? But it's all kind of the same. It's all kind of a kink, if you will, right?
Definitely.
Cuckolding is still put into a kink category, per se. So is it common? Is cuckolding a common occurrence?
I mean, like a lot of the stuff that we've discussed, it's really hard to get to those numbers.
Right, because not everybody really wants to talk about that.
Yeah. And so the research that does exist, like the numbers are higher than most people.
Yeah.
All the researchers that have written on it are always really surprised at the number of people that are interested in it, or at least have looked it up online, or been willing to at least admit to that component versus admitting to doing it. So like, I'm interested. It's crossed my mind, and that's kind of where it stops for a lot of these studies so far. Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting way to like spice things up, because it's no secret that sex lives get very stale, right? And so I think a lot of times people do kind of open their relationships up to other things, but I think this one in particular is just like, I don't know. Personally for me, it's a fun way to open things up. Because I like the fact that your partner is still there with you. And I like the fact that they're still getting to watch that, because a big component of cuckolding is the sex that you're going to have with your partner when you get home. Because a big part of it is like watching them get off with somebody else. So when you get home with them, you're like, oh, now watch me fuck you. I'm going to dominate, you know?
It's the sperm competition.
It's a sperm competition. Exactly. It is
my turn.
Yes. Yeah. Because I think that's a big part of it, is watching somebody be desired by other people, having that little bit of jealousy come in, you know, that little bit of envy. And then it turns you into more of like, more sexually attracted.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the animalistic thing. I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, my sperm.
Exactly. Yeah. That's mine. You're my woman.
I'm
going
to work that much harder because I just saw
that.
Right?
Yeah. I can see how other men can pleasure you and make you happy right in front of my face. So
He's
now
like
I gotta
watching game
step
film
my
in
job
front
up.
of you. Like, like
Yes.
I can be better than Brady.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That's a very specific name there, but we won't get into it.
Tom Brady. Sorry about that. Sorry, I could have said Michael Jordan. Sorry.
I would watch him fuck Giselle any day. I would just say that. I will very much be a part of that if they need me. So
you're really just open for hire for anybody that's a couple.
Yeah, really.
That's
I
your
mean,
thing right
like
now.
David Beckham, you know.
So anybody,
yeah.
Anybody in that 10% who has
In
that
that
androstenine.
10%, that's right. I need those really high pheromones, and we'll get going. Okay. So there's no secret that cuckolding also has a very taboo factor, right? So it idealizes monogamy. We live in a culture that idealizes monogamy. So doing anything that is outside of like the social standard is, you know, it's the bad boy fantasy. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's the things that you're technically not supposed to be doing, and that's what makes the kink that much more enticing. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Not supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be fucking somebody who's not my husband.
Yes, because you're supposed to be in these loving monogamous relationships with Jesus, you know, watching over you.
The ultimate.
That was loaded.
The ultimate voyeur.
That's what I'm, the white picket fence scenario, 2 kids and a dog, So doing anything outside.
I cuck for Jesus.
Yeah.
He sits in the corner.
Let's be honest, everybody's cucking for Jesus.
Everybody's cucking for Jesus.
We're going to get letters. We're going to get letters for that one. I don't even know what to say about that.
But no, I think that's a big part of any sexual fantasy, though, is the taboo-ness of it. It's the same thing with everyone's always like, why is the stepbrother fantasy so big? I'm like, because it's taboo, because it's the people you're not supposed to be fucking. That's what makes it so, like, you're right, enticing. That's the fun part about it. It's what you're not supposed to be doing. So I think that that's a huge part of what any fetish is, but especially cuckolding.
I think it's a little problematic, the stepmom.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with it. It's not like, it's so funny too, because I feel like I'm constantly having to explain to people that's like not my personal fantasy. I'm like,
having sex with your stepson?
Right. Yeah. Or people being like, you be my mommy? I'm like, no, I will not be anybody's fucking mom.
It's like social responsibility.
Do you have a son?
Not my thing.
Do you have like an over 18? You do? Oh, then maybe we should go out. For sure. That sounds problematic to me.
Yes, it does.
Can we talk about some of these scenes that you guys have too, by the way? I mean, like some of these like 18-year-old guys are like, I don't know what an erection is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is.
Let me teach you what that is.
Like they haven't been dealing.
Years older.
I was going to say, not like they haven't been dealing with their dick since they were 11. So,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like these guys are supposed to be 18.
We're playing to a lot of ridiculousness.
But who's watching it, right?
So that's what I'm saying.
It goes back a little bit to no one is learning any of this stuff. And so there's an excitement to, I'm also confused, or I also might not know. Mm-hmm. And I like this character that also doesn't know because we're learning together, at which point now I have an older gorgeous woman
teacher.
to teach me.
I just wish we weren't that dumb. Come on.
Yeah.
It makes me feel dumb. I'm just like, no. If this person is of age, I wouldn't send that person to war or have that person vote if they don't know what their erection is and they need their stepmother.
Okay, well, I think that is a little bit better than the stuck scenario where you're stuck in a washer, stuck in a dog door. I got stuck in a garbage disposal, and that's what we're believing.
The elevators.
Yeah, there's just a lot of...
All right, the bimbos, right, right.
A lot of getting stuck pornos these days. That's hilarious. Different strokes for different folks, quite literally. All right.
Stuck. I didn't even know about that.
What? You've never seen the stuck porns?
No.
Oh my God, they're
like
crazy.
the elevators doors
Yeah,
will
you get
close and
stuck
you're
in
only
something.
halfway through and someone on the other side decides to take advantage
They're
of
only
you.
going to help you after they fuck you.
Oh,
basically.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, back to cuckolding.
Involuntary consent. Jeez.
No, yes. You're basically like, oh, please, please, please help me be unstuck.
Right.
Yes, I'll suck your dick if only you'll help me. Yeah.
Consent is like a...
Yeah.
It's in pornography, but it's
Yeah.
it's implied
Yeah.
sometimes, but not
Yeah,
always.
It's not always great.
Sure.
Not always great. But let's talk about the emotional intimacy of cuckolding, because you would almost think that there would be no emotion in a cuckolding scenario. However, there is a lot of emotion because it almost would bring you closer to your partner in a lot of scenarios. Just the fact that, no, honestly, though, emotionally, that you could watch this person that you love go through a sexual encounter with somebody else and then still come back to you and have that aftercare conversation and still talk about your emotions and still love this person and not get into this crazy irrational jealousy type scenario that a lot of us would go into if we saw our partner with somebody else. Instead, this is actually bringing them closer and making them really talk about their own desires and wants and an open and honest conversation. So,
wow. You make it sound so Harry Met Sally.
it kind of is. I mean,
I'll have what she's having.
Right.
I think anytime people can have an open sexual conversation is huge. But
Right.
I think if you can do it while experiencing your partner, experiencing somebody else, that is a whole new level of maturity.
It really is.
But
yeah,
is that
yeah.
happening at that time, or is it happening before and after?
Probably before and after, you would hope. I would hope.
Sure, certainly.
But I mean, I just think if it is in that type of healthy relationship, I think it could only make
those are
you
probably
stronger.
the strongest couples in
Yeah,
history. I mean,
that's
like,
what I'm
honestly,
saying.
yeah, because if you think about, like, you have now just that jealousy thing, right? That nightmare of just like, oh, somebody's fucking my wife.
Yes.
And then you're watching it, and like you guys are having a conversation about it and talking about your
Yes.
fears or your desires or your kinks or all those things, right? So that sounds like sexual therapy, really.
Yes, and having your desires met in front of the person that you want to be meeting those desires instead of leaving them to go have your sexual desires met.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's where insecurity and jealousy. Yeah.
Oh, and open relationships are becoming much more common now.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yes.
probably because of those things that
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from the strength of said relationship. And it certainly
Yeah.
doesn't have to take away from any of those other variables of the relationship, but it could certainly add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you guys feel we need to add? I feel really good about where we got on this cuckolding episode. All right. Well, with that, you guys, I will say best of luck cuckolding. Hopefully it brings your relationships closer together.
Talk about it first.
Yeah, talk about it. Let's have the
first.
conversation. But open it up. Get yourself a bowl. Go have some
Go
fun.
get you a cuck.
Go get you a bowl. Go get you a cuck. Go have a great
your
time.
relationships.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, maybe you could take them to a comedy show. Maybe you can take them to the roast battle. Brian Moses, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, roast battle. Anywhere. Google. This has been the best Black Sexual History Month I've ever done.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brian, for being with us. I really appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Guys.
Absolutely.
It's been a fun month.
Dr. Eddie, thank you for all your public health knowledge. We really appreciate you bringing facts and making this show somewhat intelligent. We really appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it for this month. Thank you so much. And until next time, adios.